you want the cake? You accept doggy biscuits?
Fresh Driscoll strawberries, 1 pound package, $6.99. Fresh certified Angus beef top round steak, $6.99 per pound. Tostitos tortilla chips, 10-ounce bags, hot price at $4.99. Kellogg's Special K cereal, 12-ounce box, only $6.99. Select the size roll, Bounty paper towels, hot price, $2.49. All stores open Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
You can count on us.
Live from Bermuda Broadcasting, this is ZBM TV9 News.
You're watching Bermuda Broadcasting News. It's Friday, May 11th. I'm Diane Brewer, and thanks for joining us tonight. Education Minister Diala Rebane has provided an update for Plan 2022, which seeks to improve the island's public schools. Addressing the House of Assembly, the minister stressed the need for accountability and said the plan is linked to performance appraisals for all staff.
So what we've done is pull together teams, taking the pieces of the plan that directly speak to accountability and how they will be utilized to move the plan forward. And so they've been charged with coming up with plans to how we can move forward, as well as implementing the plan starting in September. One of the things that I did highlight within the statement is that achievement of these milestones that are being put in there are also attached to people's performance appraisals. So now this is how we look at adding accountability to it, because what we want is a plan that everyone not only just buys into, but also understands that all of us are responsible for little bits of it. And if one of us doesn't do our job, then the whole plan doesn't move forward as it should. So people have been assigned and people have readily accepted these roles, and they're putting together their pieces. So when it comes to September, we're ready to rock and roll with it.
You mentioned performance appraisals. How does this impact Plan 2022?
Well, everything is about accountability. Everything needs, as I just said, we need to have, this plan has been put in place to state that, you know, the people that are in charge of moving it forward have to be held accountable for meeting those milestones. And I think this is something that was probably not addressed as much in previous plans. And remember, this plan is something that's been put together by a community input. One of the things the community has said is that we want accountability to our people that we're putting in charge of our children, meaning that if they say they're going to do something, what do we do? What do we have in place to measure that it's being done and it's being done effectively? One of those things is adding accountability measures.
So what if someone doesn't live up to the expectation, or they do not meet the requirements for their aspect of this plan?
Well, as the plan spoke to, monthly meetings take place, as well as bi-monthly meetings with the persons in charge of various aspects. And it's hoped that anything that's falling short be caught within those bi-weekly meetings. So when the monthly overall status updates come in, we're able to put ourselves in a position to quickly pivot and address whatever shortcomings may occur.
Also in the House of Assembly, the government tabled the Customs Tariff Amendment Bill, bringing Bermuda's sugar tax one step closer to becoming law. The legislation includes proposed changes to tariff rates on imported sugar and certain products. These include raw sugar, sugary soft drinks, cordials, and certain candies. Fruit juices and milk products are excluded. The sugar tax will be set at 75% and will be rolled out in phases starting next month. Other items could be added or removed from the list in the future. Proponents of the tax point to Bermuda's high rate of obesity and diabetes as reasons to implement such a measure. Skeptics say similar programs have failed to change behaviors elsewhere. And police are calling on the public to avoid wearing expensive jewelry in public and to remain vigilant if approached by any suspicious individuals. This follows 2 incidents when attempts were made to snatch chains from men wearing them, one of the victims sustaining non-life-threatening injuries. Anyone with information regarding similar suspicious activity is encouraged to report it to the Criminal Investigation Department on 247-1744. We'll have more for you after this short break. Stay with us.
Price Right is your one-stop shop with something for everyone. Household goods for kitchen, bedroom, and bathroom. Aisles of bulk groceries at value prices. A complete selection of fresh meat and produce, and an extensive range of frozen items to cover every meal. Wines from around the world, and beer and liquor at discount prices. Visit Price Right at our 2 locations in Pembroke and Warren. There's always something new and always something for everyone.
For all the ways your mom says I love you, make her Mother's Day truly special with a gorgeous bouquet from Exclusive Flowers. Visit us online or call to order that amazing arrangement she exclusively deserves.
Welcome back. A host of new animal and plant species have been found in Bermuda's waters thanks to the XL Catlin Deep Ocean Survey, which began in 2016. Home Affairs Minister Walton Brown Jr., who also holds the environment portfolio, said the final results of the survey will become available in September. This week, the island also hosted the Ocean Risk Summit, at which a number of world authorities on ocean environments came together to discuss solutions to the risk posed to human society by the changing oceans. The outcome of the summit, Mr. Brown explained, will have a global impact.
Such changes have the potential to severely impact our economy, our way of life, and our environment. Mr. Speaker, beyond the risks driven by climate change, we are concerned about our food security tied to the health of oceanic fisheries, the persistent threat from IUU fishing, and the impact of plastic waste material, which accumulates significantly in our Sargasso Sea, threatening these important resources. So we are just as interested as other countries in finding solutions and ways to mitigate these growing risks.
In other news, it's the end of the whale season, with the annual migration of the humpback whales past the island drawing to a close. Leading whale researcher Andrew Stevenson has spent much of the last few months observing the huge mammals as they move on to their feeding grounds further north. He sat down to talk to our reporter, Hal Davis.
Every spring, the humpback whales pass through the waters off Bermuda. And every spring, for the last 12 years, Andrew Stevenson has been setting out to observe them, using equipment like this underwater camera. The results are spectacular, but Stevenson's work is about more than just impressive images. He's carefully logging the individual whales and analysing the data, discovering ever more about their behaviour.
Originally, people thought that they were just using Bermuda as a waypoint to go up north, but we've got whales that stay here for 13 days now, 9 days, 8 days, 7 days, so it begs the question, what are they doing? And I think they're aggregating here before they move up north.
His research shows the whales keep to a regular schedule when they visit Bermudian waters. Any change to their pattern could indicate major climatic problems.
If, for example, global warming is melting the ice caps and you have that dense cold water deflecting the Gulf Stream so that's circulating on itself, and we don't have the Gulf Stream going up into Northern Europe, that's going to be a major catastrophe for the Northern Europeans, but it's also going to be a problem here too for us because our water is going to get hotter and hotter. And the whales, they're going to know about this first because their food supply, their food web is going to change as a result of that.
His observations aren't just indicators of global problems, though. There are dangers to the whales themselves, too, particularly the risk of them becoming caught up in lines and fishing equipment. According to Stevenson, it's a growing problem.
And with the humpbacks, we're seeing increasing evidence of entanglements where you see the scarring on the whales. Over the last 12 years, I've seen 4 entangled whales here. And I've got aerial footage showing a piece of garbage, a big piece of garbage in the ocean. And you can see 2 humpbacks coming up to it, and one of them starts playing with it because they're very tactile and they actually like the feel of it. But if that had had lines attached to it, you can see the way he's rotating under that thing and nudging it with his nose, that he would have become entangled.
Stevenson will shortly be getting equipment and training from the Canadian government, which will enable him to cut whales free, making them not just an object of study, but of compassion as well. Howell Davis, Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Good stuff. And Andrew Stevenson will be discussing the sequel to his award-winning documentary, Where the Whales Sing, at the Bermuda Underwater Exploration Institute this Monday, May the 14th at 6:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. Turning to weather news, sunny days ahead. Here's the latest from AccuWeather headquarters.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
This AccuWeather forecast here on ZBM is brought to us by our friends at the BF&M Insurance Group. We've had this front nearby. It has been producing some showers. We really could use a little more rain, though. Sometimes it seems silly to say that after somewhat of a damp day with off-and-on showers. But when it comes to the rainfall to date for the month, we are running a little bit behind. And once this front continues to move east and later on tonight as we dry out, that'll basically bring an end to our opportunity for any meaningful showers, as the next 5 days will be dry. Here's the satellite estimate of where the rain has been, including over our heads and in our backyards in many cases throughout the course of the day. But here's the water vapor satellite loop, and this shows the moisture content of the atmosphere, not specifically clouds, more of just a general cross-section of the moisture content overall. But what we see is that we're nearly through this big widespread batch of moisture that's been moving east. So the end of that is near, and drier air, the oranges and yellows, will soon replace that in our local atmosphere. So here we have 74 current temps. It's been pretty nice out there. Wind from the southwest at 10 to 15 knots. Humidity 89%, pretty steamy with that extra moisture around. Water temp, by the way, is at around 76. On the inside, waves are down. Earlier today, they were around 1 to 2 feet. Tonight, generally a foot or less. And on the outside, waves are coming down as well, down to 2 to 4 feet. So the overnight forecast does feature a couple of leftover showers, mainly in the evening, less likely after midnight, 70 for your low. So our small craft warning is soon to end. That has been ending, or it is ending this evening, and we're going to be dealing with, again, low tide. Tide goes back out at 12:47 a.m. late tonight. Tide comes back in early tomorrow morning, just before 7 a.m. And then low tide number 2, right around 12:54 at midday on your Saturday. And we hope it's a great Saturday for you. The weather should cooperate, 76 degrees, a mix of sun and clouds. And here we can see the progression of that shift in the wind. That's the true front, just barely to our west, at least in some form. The surface front is arguably going to actually move through our area, punctuating the period of rain, ending the period of showers as it moves on through tomorrow. And then we have lighter, weaker flow for the weekend, and that will allow for flatter water on the marine front, if you will, for our boaters, better boating weather. We do have some showers and strong thunderstorms possible in parts of the middle Atlantic states of the United States. So say Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia tomorrow. New York may see some of that as well. Chillier in Boston, but 91 in Atlanta. London, 61 with some showers on the east side of the Atlantic. We have showers and thunderstorms in some parts of the Caribbean as well. Our local forecast features a drier weather pattern, a mix of sun and clouds on a daily basis. Mid to upper 70s, lows close to 70, running fairly warm. Back to you.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
My name is Kevin Roberts. I'm a taxi driver / ambassador. My father's with BF&M, so am I. Half of my family always been seen to be with Bermuda Fire Marine. I tried a different provider at one time, but I wasn't too happy with the competition. Because back then it took too long to settle claims. They questioned every claim, and I never really had that problem with BF&M. I'm quite happy with it.
I've been diabetic for 13, 14 years.
People develop type 2 diabetes over a number of years. People can lose their sight. There are other people who have lost their limbs through amputations. There are many people who are on dialysis, and you're at increased risk for things like strokes and heart disease.
I had fears that I would have a heart attack, or I would have a stroke, or I would lose limbs, or lose my eyesight. The program Diabetes Reversal has made me really realize that it's a lifestyle change.
The program is designed so that the patient can learn to take control of the disease instead of this disease taking control of you.
I feel so good. I feel like I've been given a second chance.
It's not a crash course, it's not a diet course, it doesn't involve supplements or pills or anything like that.
Just take that leap of faith and know that there is a way without medication.
I invite you to take the first step on the journey of the Diabetes Reversal Program here at the Premier Health and Wellness Center.
Welcome back. From eerily human-like bots to futuristic underground transport, there was no shortage of tech stories to talk about on this Friday. Tony Waterman has your mashup.
A face coin for Facebook users. The social media giant is, quote, very serious about launching its own cryptocurrency. That's according to Cheddar TV. The coin would allow Facebook's billions of users to make e-payments. It's not the first time the idea has been floated, but with this week's executive shakeup and newly formed blockchain group, the report takes on greater meaning. A crypto coin could help Facebook solve some of its biggest headaches, like identity verification and advertising sales. It could be years, though, before the cryptocurrency materializes. Robot or human?
So how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client.
Distinguishing bot from human was so hard to tell and horrified so many that Google has come out to say its artificial intelligence assistant will identify itself as a robot when calling up businesses on behalf of humans. Google showcased the new feature at its developers conference earlier this week, but the demo's eerily lifelike cadence sparked concerns that Google was misleading those on the other end of the line.
Sure, give me 1 second.
The Google Duplex feature is still in its development stage. On the flip side, Google is making it easier for you to stop it from tracking your every move online. It's launched new tools which allow users to turn off things like location history, Google search results, and YouTube search logs. Keep in mind, though, that data is what helps Google personalize your experience online. The change comes as new privacy rules are set to kick in across Europe. And do you consider this boring? Didn't think so. This is Elon Musk's first boring tunnel under Los Angeles, which he says is almost done. And once he gets regulatory approval, you could get a free ride. The 2-mile test tunnel is a prototype for an underground transport system, which would move passengers or vehicles along magnetic rails at speeds up to 200 kilometers per hour. That's your Tech Mashup. I'm Tony Waterman.
Talking this week, Fitch analysts were on island meeting with clients connected with the insurance sector. Tony Waterman talked with Brian Schneider, who last winter said Bermuda had lost some of its competitive advantage. She asked him about that, but started off by talking about how the sector is shaping up nearly halfway through the year.
Yeah, I think the Bermuda market is still a very strong place to be. We did see some competitive disadvantage as a result of the recent U.S. tax reform with the BEAT tax coming in. There's been less capital flow into Bermuda from these reinsurance arrangements, but there's still a lot of talent on the island. There's still a lot of underwriting that takes place in Bermuda. That being said, they're still subject to the same competitive conditions that are affecting the rest of the global market.
When you say decreased capital flow, how much money are we talking about?
It's not a huge amount at the margin. There's still other ways that money can get to Bermuda. They can write business directly in Bermuda and not have it go through the U.S. A lot of these companies already had large U.S. operations as it was, so there's still a lot of business in the U.S., but there's also still quite a bit of business in Bermuda.
You issued a report after the U.S. tax reform went through. You said that the changes in the United States were credit negative for Bermuda's insurers and reinsurers, that it would erode some of the competitive advantages that Bermuda has. 6 months on from the passage of U.S. tax reform, is that still the case?
I think it's certainly decreased their advantage. I think they still do have an advantage over the market, given there is no income tax here. That does help them. There's still a lot of underwriting talent on the island that helps to maintain somewhat of a competitive advantage. But as we've seen those things erode, as a result of that, they've had to respond in different ways, and some of those ways has been to try to expand some of their lines of business, try to become larger organizations and maybe more diverse organizations to the extent that they're not able to be solely dependent on just the Bermuda market.
There's a lot of competition in the market right now. There's limited organic growth. We have seen some big deals, some mergers and acquisitions taking place so far this year. Do you think that we're on a path towards a record year for M&A?
It could be. We've already seen, as you mentioned, a couple of big deals. AXA coming in and buying Excel, AIG, the large U.S. company coming in and buying Validus, which is a smaller company, but still gives them a position in the reinsurance market that they can utilize to expand their operations. There's other smaller companies that are out there that I think are probably more potential targets than like the larger Excel deal. But what maybe hurting some of those deals as we go through the year is the prices that were paid for both Excel and Validus were relatively large, 1.5 times regular book value, but if we look at a tangible book value basis, it was almost 2 times. So and a lot of boards of directors are not really willing to pay that level of premium for companies, but there are several companies out there looking to see if they can get that kind of price and be able to get a good return for their shareholders.
You can count on us.
Red seedless grapes only $3.99 per pound. Fresh Purdue chicken drumsticks half price $1.79 per pound. Select varieties of Yoplait yogurt 6-ounce tubs only $1.09. Scott extra soft toilet tissue 4 rolls only $3.29. Tide 2X laundry detergent 92-ounce bottle hot price $19.99. Save $7.06. All stores open Monday through Saturday 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. and Sunday 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
You can count on us.
Are you looking to expand your customer base, increase sales, and be a part of the Island Community Events for 2018? Bermuda Broadcasting Company can make that happen.
Be a part of World Cup 2018, Bermuda Day Half Marathon, Bermuda Heroes Weekend, Cup Match Classic, and Eastern Counties Cricket.
Inquire about our new advertising opportunities, whether big or small. We will deliver. Come and see us at Fort Hill, Devonshire, or email us at sales@bbc.bm or send us a message on Facebook at Bermuda Broadcasting.
I'm Michaela and this is Taking Off. The busy season has kicked off for us here at the LF Wade International Airport. All the airlines have switched to their spring schedules with the summer schedules due to start next month. So what does that mean for you? We all know it's important to come to the airport a couple hours ahead of our flight, but in Bermuda we tend to be more relaxed and come an hour or so before the flight is due to depart. In the busy season, that's a recipe for disaster. Please come to the airport at least 2.5 hours before your flight to the U.S. This might sound like a long time, but by the time you check in, clear U.S. Customs and Border Protection, and go through security, that's at least an hour gone. Also, the airlines begin boarding 45 minutes prior to the flight scheduled departure. It's better to relax upstairs with something to eat or drink rather than coming to the airport late and rushing, or worse, missing your flight. Besides, U.S. law requires all passengers who are traveling to the USA clear CBP a minimum of 1 hour before the flight. If you're traveling to Canada or the UK, arriving 2 hours before your flight is best. Remember, the busy season means more people traveling. Please get to the airport early. See you next time.
As most people know, the majority of food imported to Bermuda comes from the United States, but what might be less well known is the bizarre nature of some of the additives used in many household foods in the States. Kiet Do reports.
Shopping for dinner. Hungry? Want a snack? Instant noodles? Soft drinks? Frozen entrees? They're fast, cheap, and easy. But did you know a lot of our favorite foods are made with ingredients or additives, best described as bizarre? In any given month, 8 out of 10 Americans will eat or drink something that is processed with an ingredient they know absolutely nothing about. So with the help of Dr. John Swartzberg of UC Berkeley School of Public Health, KPIX5 assembled a smorgasbord of popular foods, all containing a weird ingredient.
They put the good stuff.
We asked Juliet and her daughter Rosie to play along in our game of What Is It?
Let's start with the healthy stuff, and then we'll work our way down to dessert.
First up, shredded cheese. In it,
powdered cellulose.
Well, cellulose is a plant product, and it's made from a variety of plants, including, of course, wood.
Whoa!
It keeps your cheese from clumping.
The more cellulose you put in, which is very cheap to make, the more money you make.
Okay, next, in some frozen burritos, snacks, and pizza.
What's in there?
They all share L-cysteine. What's that?
No idea.
L-cysteine is an amino acid, but not just any amino acid.
This particular amino acid is made from hair and duck feathers.
Yep, human hair or duck feathers.
That's gross.
It's used as a dough conditioner to improve its texture. There is an ingredient found in some red juice and yogurt.
Colored with carmine.
Carmine?
Sounds like
maybe a plant?
Carmine is a natural red food dye made by boiling cochineal insects.
Wow.
If they ground them up, it made a beautiful red dye.
Next up, granulated sugar. What makes it so sparkly white?
Is it bleach?
Nope. Some brands use charred animal bones or bone char. To keep salt from caking up, some brands mixed in powdered sand or limestone. To To clarify some white wines and beers, makers use a special filter called isinglass.
It's made from bladders of bony fish.
And finally, those shiny little jelly beans. On the label?
Confectioner's glaze.
Confectioner's glaze? What's that?
Sounds like, like a sugar glaze that bakers would put on, say, donuts or something.
Nope. Confectioner's glaze is shellac.
Shellac is made from specific insects in Asia.
These bizarre ingredients are all legal to use in food. The FDA classifies them, as well as thousands of other additives, as generally recognized as safe, or GRAS for short. As for Juliet and Rosie,
I'll steer clear.
Bermuda's multiple world champion Flora Duffy will be back in action later this evening as the World Triathlon Series moves to Yokohama, Japan.
Duffy will be looking to ride the wave she created right here in Bermuda almost 2 weeks ago when she won the Bermuda MS Emlyn Triathlon World Series event. News reaching Bermuda Broadcasting Sports is that CONCACAF is looking to reschedule the postponed Women's Under-17 World Cup qualifiers for June 6th through to the 12th in Florida. The new proposed date sees the tournament heading to the IMG Academy campus. Bermuda has 2 games remaining in the group stages that will see them play new proposed host USA and Costa Rica, having already been defeated 4-0 by Canada. Delray Rollins and his Sussex Seconds teammates went down by 9 wickets to Hampshire Seconds in their 50-over trophy campaign. Rollins was out for 20. He was the 3rd top scorer for Sussex, and he had figures of 5 overs, no maidens, none for 40. Sakaya Lewis, Sejan Harvey, and Malik Jewell represented St. Johnsbury Academy during the 6th annual Coaches vs. Cancer Twilight Open track meet. Lewis finished 2nd competing in the women's varsity 100-meter final, clocking a time of 13:37. She would also finish 2nd in the 200-meter final with a time of 27:45. Lewis led off the victorious St. Johnsbury women's varsity 4x100-meter relay team that clocked a winning time of 51:56. Lewis would win the women's varsity long jump with a top leap of 5.18 meters. Joe finished 4th in the 200 meters, stopping the clock in a time of 24:33. Joe would also finish 5th in the men's varsity 400-meter final, clocking a time of 53:63. Harvey won the 800-meter varsity men's final with a time of 2:03:01. Harvey led off, and Joe ran the anchor leg for the St. Johnsbury men's 4x400-meter relay team that clocked a winning time of 3:39:34. The pair ran in the same spots for the St. Johnsbury 4x800-meter relay team that clocked a winning time of 8:26:34. 2 Bermuda youngsters will have the opportunity of a lifetime. On the occasion of the FIFA World Cup Russia 2018, Gazprom have invited 2 youth from each of FIFA's 211 member associations, together with 2 chaperones, to travel to Russia to participate in the Football for Friendship program. The 2 youth from each member association were selected in the capacity as a player and a journalist, respectively. The Bermuda Football Association have selected 2 youth from their National Academy program, namely student athletes Amir Dill, who will represent Bermuda as a youth player, and Majesty Wilson, who will represent Bermuda as a youth journalist. When the waves settled on day 3 of the 68th Argo Group Gold Cup, the 8 quarterfinal teams were decided. Crews led by Taylor Canfield, Johnny Bertson, Joachim Aschenbrenner, and Nicholas Dackhammer all qualified for the quarterfinals on Wednesday by placing in the top 4 of the round-robin stage. They were joined by Trevor Mertzky, Lucy McGregor, Ator Bottacini, and Charlie Lalumeyer. The 4 skippers led their crews to the next round after placing in the top 4 positions respectively in the repechage round. Fresh off his Bermuda National Squash Championship title victory over Michael Franklin, Noah Brown competed in the $5,000 Men's City View Squash Open Championships. The Open took place in Long Island, New York. Playing in the first qualifying round, Brown went down in 4 games in 37 minutes to Guy Davison from the USA. Davison won the first game 11-7. Brown would level the match at 1-1 when he won the second match 11-9. Davison would then take a 2-1 lead when he won the third game 11-4, and then he would close out. Gabriella Arno and her Marian University Cycling Women's teammates won their 9th straight Team Road Championships and the 41st team national title in Grand Junction, Colorado by scoring the top team points in the criteriums on the final day of competition. During a workout at the National Sports Center in preparation for the Bermuda area permit meet, Bermuda's Paralympian and Parapan gold medalist and T53 women's 100-meter record holder Jessica Lewis was surprised by her sponsor staff.
Well, I'm delighted to tell you on behalf of everyone here that we raised some money to get you to Tokyo, and we're delighted to present you with a check to make
$500 was presented to Lewis on the track by staff who attended the session to make the special presentation. The final Bermuda Equestrian RES Spring Show Series competition gets underway this weekend, May 12th and 13th at the grounds of a unique property. Officials are extremely grateful to the generous invitation of Mr. Ralph Teixeira and family, who have offered the use of the Ocean View Farm, St. Mark's Road in Smith, for the venue of the final 2018 Auto Solutions RES Spring Show. This beautiful property affords all competitors an opportunity to compete on grass.
I'm Earl Basden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
That's our newscast. Thanks for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend. Good night.